Welcome back to the Breaking the Silence Project, and this is In Conversation with, and I'm your host, Steve Neal. I'm a lifelong experiencer, and on this show, we have conversations with people who have experiences, but in this case today, we also talk to people like Chris, who have a real vested interest in the subject, and I think it'll be interesting to get a perspective from outside the community looking in. Chris, welcome to the show. Chris
Th-
Hancock. Sorry.
That is me. Thank you so much, Steve. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just making sure that local recordings are actually on. They are.
Okay.
So, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I do know that you're a clinical social worker and a psychotherapist, but you
Right.
did a lot of other things before that that kind of led you through some interesting paths from being in a rock band and being successful at that. I love music too, and having a bit
Yeah.
of a spiritual journey, and somehow arrived here at our channel.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'll say that I arrived here because I've just been feeling a pull in light of what's going on in the collective with all the heightened awareness, should we say, about the phenomenon, for better or worse.
Right.
To just start jumping back into spaces where people are talking about this stuff.
Hmm.
Simply because I've been interested in the phenomenon since basically Whitley Strieber came on the scene in the 80s, dipping in and out, but mostly in. Although in the context of my therapist career, mostly out, save for a brief period in the mid 2000s where I was invited into a pre-existing experience or support group locally by someone I had met. She invited me to come in as a therapist just to be part of it, to hear the stories and lend any insight that I might have, but mostly for me to learn from experiencers firsthand, which I up to that point I had not gotten to do, and I did
Tell us
that
what
for
that was. Tell us what that was like for you, because
yeah.
it's interesting to get the different perspective. I mean, I
Hmm.
only uh, work with experiencers and have for. If you've researched me at all, you'll know it goes way back, and
Yeah.
so it's interesting to get that outside perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was fascinating. It was pretty much what I went in more or less expecting to hear. I'll say just kind of humorously and without judgment, it wasn't the most functional group. It was a little dysfunctional. It was a little rough around the edges. My friend who invited me in was herself an experiencer, and very much, I think, at that time in her own kind of state of inner conflict with it, trying to figure out how to make sense of it and integrate it. Always kind of on the fence with whether to do some hypnotherapy or some other way to access more memory. We can get into all that kind of stuff
Sure.
if you wish,
Sure.
but that really wasn't the focus of the group. The group was just a safe space for experiences to share. Um,
Sure.
yeah, so most of them were experiencers they felt with grays, from
That's common.
yeah, exactly. It seemed to be, maybe still is, I don't know, but most of them dating back to childhood, like the gal who started the group. um, there were one or two that over the course of these years reported having experiences in real time while we were part of this group, so that was pretty interesting. I remember um, just really getting echoed for me, like my big picture takeaway, having it echoed for me, the reality of it, phenomenologically, personally. It echoed the my takeaway from back in high school when I happened upon Strieber's Communion,
Hmm.
bought the book immediately, read it in about 2 hours. I couldn't put it down. I didn't know why exactly, but I came away with it from it with a just a deep, deep knowing of that this is entirely possible. At the
Hmm.
very least, this is entirely possible. And I've really never strayed from that. So more than anything, this experience with this group of give or take 5 or 6 people just reinforced that. And it also, in a way, reinforced what I learned from my deep diving of John Mack's work when I discovered him later.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
exactly. So, so much that he did, as I'm sure you well know, but
Mhm.
his big takeaway for me, especially as I went into this field, which was just a few years after discovering his work, um, was how he shined the light on the fact that you can't feign PTSD, you can't feign ontological shock, you can't feign trauma. Maybe you can one time, but you can't sustain the symptoms that come from the experience of something like this. Um, and that's what I saw in the eyes and the faces and the stories of the people that I sat with in this group.
Yeah, I know what that's like. I mean,
I
you know,
bet.
that, it's interesting, you're talking about the support group, and I'm assuming this was a few years ago, as was
Yeah.
John Mack's work, and
Mhm.
so much has changed from then. Are you familiar with the changes that have happened? Or maybe I should say the evolution, not so much as a
Um,
change, but as the experience has evolved for so many people from a place of fear and confusion to something that's becoming
yeah.
quite amazing, quite amazing.
Well, I think in general I am very roughly, but that's
Mm.
part of why I'm here because with what I'm doing in my workspace these days, and we can get into that if you wish, I'm extremely curious to see if I can move from or move not out of, but integrate. Well, here's what I'm trying to say. In these last few years, with the transpersonal work I'm doing, it just to put it simply, is I would say people come to me to have experiences in the work, transpersonal, depth oriented, mystical, facilitated mystical experiences, we might say, in the
Mhm.
work of healing and consciousness expansion, which is wonderful. I'm here for it. I'm all about it. But I historically, and in these last few years since that I've opened up into this space, I've not had experiencers of the phenomenon come to me.
With it's what you're talking about, it's all related. It's
Exactly,
one.
it is.
It's
Yes,
all one, and the whole. Uh, what I've
right,
observed is that this is an expansion of consciousness, expansion in the way that we are going from being indoctrinated human beings who were told that reality is a certain way into an expanded consciousness we've already had by becoming refamiliarized with it and growing with it.
right, absolutely. So it's not uncommon in my workspace right here in this room where I am, and virtually when I do that with people,
Mhm.
to have not only some of the main divine sources come through to participate in the work, and that would mainly be Mother Mary, Magdalene, at times Christ, some ascended masters, some of the lesser known archangel energies. Um, that's on the more common end, believe it or not, but it's not uncommon for what I would consider benevolent, positive polarity galactic culture species like Arcturians, Pleiadians, Mantis, and Sirians to come in tandem along with, say, Mother Mary for a specific person at their discretion. I don't get to request or ask who's coming through. I can use this guidance that I have to confirm who is being decided from the upper realms who's going to come through for any person at any given time based on the higher knowing of what they would be open to and what would be best for their needs on that particular day or in that session. Um, and that's something that I would be very excited to be able to bring through to someone who is an experiencer of the phenomenon in ways that you are and so many others. I've not yet gotten to have that experience. I would only hope it would be valuable. and perhaps an alternative to people who have long felt that really clinically or therapeutically their only good option is regressive hypnotherapy.
Yeah. Well, I went through that for, quite a long time,
Yeah,
a lot of sessions, and, always at the heart of it all, it seemed as though I was only allowed to remember so much, but I was allowed to remember. And in some cases, in many cases, people go through their whole lives not knowing. Maybe they saw Whitley's book and it kicked them off.
right,
Maybe they saw something but ultimately people go through their lives,
right.
they're experiencers and they don't even know it. And
Yeah,
so it's,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yes, yes, I believe I do. Yeah. I mean, certainly I can recall some of the background of the folks in that support group, um, speaking about the things that help them to realize, not always in the most gentle way, uh, that they had experiences of things that they could not, they did not have conscious memory of, and were only beginning to come back in bits and pieces. And that can be quite fragmenting and destabilizing, right?
It can, yes. What I'm finding now at this point in my life at
Mhm.
74 years old and with everything that's been going on is that you read what I
Yeah,
wrote. They told me I would now be able to remember everything, but that was sort of a trick answer or a trick expression because it meant more than just remembering things I had forgotten or that they blocked, uh, probably for my own protection, but also
yeah,
the memory of being able to access abilities all human beings have and have always had, but was
right,
simply blocked from by the indoctrination of our culture, which is,
right,
never the people doing that, it was always in their best interest, not ours.
right,
So this is sort of breaking free, and
right.
yeah, so what happened to me just recently was just, I mean, I was in the store today and there was this autistic child. I immediately was drawn to her, I immediately picked up on her, and she was so happy and so free inside, this child. She was very loud and talking to her dad and everything, and she was, about 16 years old or so.
Yeah.
I started laughing. I got sort of almost drunk on her happiness. This isn't normal for at least for human beings as we have known them
Yeah.
to be able to tap into that at the same time, and I'm not trying to tap into it. It's something that, well, Mary was telling me that I need to learn to control and to shut off because it becomes too much. It's like, especially at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm,
Just being in a waiting room with people at the doctor's office, I felt everything that was going on with these people, and I had to literally shut it. This is happening more and more with me, and it's happening with other experiencers too, and this has all been recent
yeah.
and suspiciously timed with, the release of Steven's wonderful movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're talking about kind of a heightened empathic response or reactivity, like spontaneous
It's
empathic.
extremely emotional.
Right.
As
Got
I
it.
wrote, they are these emotions are almost unsurvivable,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they seem to be key
Yeah.
in the evolution of this experience with the visitors, for lack of a better term.
Right.
It seems to be the key to
Right.
me.
Got it. Yeah. And the instinct, I guess, I'm thinking away about the way you just put it, like that or your wife was suggesting you have to control it. Is that right?
Yeah, I have to learn to control it.
Yeah.
But this didn't start happening until, um, there's been this ongoing battle with me and just about everyone else about the ego and,
Mm,
the major block that creates for us, in our spiritual and conscious growth. Um,
yeah.
and then the emotions go with that as well, because the emotions can be extremely, helpful, creative, and nourishing to life on this planet and in the universe. But at the same time,
Mm.
They can be through ego and through anger and fear, they can be so destructive that whole worlds have died as a result of it. And for the human
Yeah.
race to survive, we definitely have to learn this, and it's been a struggle, but
Yeah.
I just feel a relief I can't even begin to explain because I sort of have lost complete touch with my ego and any anger I ever had,
Yeah.
and this has all been part of it all
Right.
along, you know.
Oh, so now I guess in my language, I'm hearing you describe a kind of natural ego dissolution, a dissolving of ego.
I
Yeah.
guess it or maybe just putting it in check, I don't know, but I just,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm.
when I started my career in Hollywood, it was very ego driven. I wanna get on top,
Sure.
I wanna get famous, I wanna make big movies, and I wanna make lots of money and drive nice cars and all that stuff, and that this just doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well,
And
we could also just say maybe that's just maturity too.
maybe,
Yeah.
but there's no but, it just it started probably in my mid-60s, you know?
Hmm.
I'm 74 now, but
Yeah.
more recently, it really accelerated, and it was really just kind of, because Mary and I are very Buddhist in philosophy, and it's really
Yeah.
kind of stepping back and looking at the whole life you had before you and where it's come to now and saying,
Hmm.
"Well, that was then, this is now. Maybe that was necessary, maybe it wasn't, but I feel
Yeah.
so much better now. I'm so much more at peace." And then these things started to happen,
Yeah.
and they told me to get used to it. This is just the beginning.
Right. Right. So you're trying to figure out how to navigate that.
Well, I'm telling this stuff too because I'm really curious to see or find out in the future, if not already, that you're getting this from experiencers that you've talked to.
Well, so I hope to get the opportunity to. Yeah. Again, I haven't really found experiencers in the way that we're meaning that find me or come to me to do some work with me. So outside of that 12 years ago, that support group, it's really just been not in my on my radar for some reason. And
Yeah.
that's why, since there's all this new focus publicly, again,
Yeah.
for better or worse, on it all, I'm hoping that that will change, and that people who might feel in alignment with the way that I'm working, which I do feel is not better, but different than the old model of, oh, come do regressive hypnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope to discover and keep learning more from experiencers, while hopefully giving them something that's helpful at the same time, to integrate their experiences in a safe way, with the added holding and direct healing assistance of higher sources for those that would be open to that, which I
Re
understand is not everybody, but you know,
um, our community is very open to healing and being able to heal and
yeah,
healing each other and ourselves and,
yeah,
um, where that energy source comes from to be able to do it, that we it's part of us, and,
yeah.
uh, so I'm sure they would. And when I go back to hypnosis, I was
Mhm.
it was sort of a Richard Dreyfuss moment in Close Encounters when I realized, because
Right.
my late wife had brought me home communion, something I sure she regretted later.
Right.
What happened to me was all the dots got connected, and so
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I could remember more.
Mhm.
I remembered plenty, but
Right.
I just thought I didn't understand that it had something to do with the UFOs I was seeing at too. I didn't know they were connected until
Yeah.
Whitley put it all together, and
Mm.
I'm looking back on it now, I'm not sure that hypnosis, um, was accurate or even helpful or
Mhm.
even well, I think a better word would was it necessary? Because,
Right.
um, when I first went in, the first thing that was tried was my first real strong memory of an encounter in 1958. It's in my movie, but something is there. We rebuilt
Mhm.
my bedroom. We rebuilt and restaged my bedroom on a sound stage and a child actor playing me and reenacted that entire moment.
Right.
But it only gets so far. And the next thing I know, it's morning and I'm laying at the foot of my parents' bed. I never could remember what happened after that moment.
Yeah.
And then not too long ago, after I saw the film, they gave it to me and I got to remember the whole thing much better than the hypnosis could have ever done.
Oh, I
And
bet.
it was moving, it was emotional, it was just absolutely incredible.
And was that, Steve, during a waking state or a
Yeah,
liminal
well,
state?
I was before we go to bed, we have a sound bath. The sound bath's done with, Tibetan bowls, the
Yep.
ceramic ones,
Mhm.
and, some synthesizers, but it's all resonant frequency stuff, and so you don't really fall asleep, you just go into,
Yeah.
meditative state,
Yeah.
and the vibrations from the instruments and the
Mhm.
bowls especially, it's just the most amazing things happen, and then suddenly you're I was with them and they said, "Now you're gonna start to remember everything."
Yeah.
And that's when I felt something holding my hand and I came to and I was in that bedroom when I was a little boy and they
Wow.
showed me what happened and that was just incredible. You don't even wanna believe it's real.
Right.
You're just sure you're going nuts. You gotta be nuts, right? This just can't be real, but then
Right.
they have ways of showing you absolutely that it is, and it's just for you. It's
Yeah.
not for you. It's not proof put in your hands to show to someone else because really, I don't think any of us really care about proving this to anyone. That just
Right.
isn't important. It's not important anymore, like so many other things.
Right.
When you have this kind of
Yeah.
connection with another consciousness, another spirit,
Yeah.
it's nothing could be more meaningful and more fantastic in your life than that. Besides the love of your life and your
Yeah.
friends and family, it's just
Right.
really something.
Oh, yes. Yeah. My corollary to that is, uh, how I started to make direct contact with divine sources on the touchdown of my last kind of dark night of the soul, which I also think as
Yeah,
really a
you've
dark
talked
night of
about
the
that.
ego.
The Dark
Yeah.
Night of the Ego?
Yeah, I think about that more as a dark night of the ego because I always kind of think the soul is fine. It's the
Yeah.
rest of us that are in crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
I
so
had
you've had the same battle with the ego.
yeah, yeah, I would say that. In this last iteration, it was probably a near decade long dark night that I was in that I didn't even realize until it got really real. And until I was really brought to the edge of a burnout that became like the edge of madness for real. And once it occurred to me that I need to do with this what I already knew to do on paper, which was launch a surrender experiment, and began to do that day in and day out. Hmm. Yeah, just surrender, 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 and just pray for clarity and ask for help and guidance. Repeat, rinse, and repeat. That's what I kept doing, and then I
Rinse.
rinse and repeat.
Right. So you're rinsing yourself out, getting rid of all the toxins
Yeah,
and
uh-huh,
coming
exactly,
back to
with a
just
lot of help.
being in your body and being in your present time moment and yeah.
Completely. Yes, with humility and letting go and surrender, and just sitting in the fire, as they say, right? So
Was that during your musical did a lot of that come about within your musical
no, no, I mean, back during that time in my 20s, I was probably in a dark night, that was more a depression, more grief and depression. It was really more like mental and emotional health, sort of low level continuous crisis at that time through my 20s.
most bands were and some of the greatest ones were and now we don't have them
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly. Right.
Nirvana,
No doubt.
UB40,
Before
the Raspberries.
right.
I mean, the suicides, just
Yes,
really prevalent. They had everything.
no doubt.
Uh, they did great music.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still listen to Nirvana today, and every time I hear him say, "And I don't have a gun," I just think to myself, "My God, that's
Yeah.
what you killed yourself with, man. That was
Yeah.
so unnecessary, and if only those people could have been reached somehow, we'd still have them
Yeah.
instead of just their memory and their
Mm.
music."
Indeed. Indeed.
But those dark it's weird how artists, have that that darkness about them. I know I did.
Mhm.
I was
Oh,
always the dark horse,
sure. Yeah,
you know?
definitely. I was always kind of lone wolf, felt so alienated, and,
Yeah.
uh, and there was a big escapist quality about that for me.
And then there was the substances, and seeing
Mm.
how far you could push that, you
Yep.
know, you almost didn't care if it killed you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, a lot of my friends did end up dead as a result of pushing it too far.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. But the second, the more recent, dark night that I went through was really in the lead up to my turning 50. It was in the 4th decade, in the lead up to my turning 50. I'm 56 now, where it got really, really real. The combination of just health crisis, burnout, and this real spiritual madness that was coming on, that I view now as all by design to really wake me up to the larger purpose of what I'm here to do, the highest purpose of my soul. And that was really to begin to make direct contact, like gnosis, Gnostic, direct mystical contact with higher sources. And over time, learn how to stabilize those frequencies and be able to offer that, to have that be part of the work that I do for people. And that's mainly what I do now. So it's kind of like a theurgical offering. I just call it transpersonal because that's a little bit more of an accessible word. So I'm still a therapist, but I'm kind of a channel. I do this theurgical divine invocation thing, and I'm really setting up a toroidal field where higher sources can come through and work through me, really as just like instrument or like a conductor. And as long as someone is open to receiving them, unbelievable
Yeah.
healing magic can happen. So,
Well,
um,
to receive them, you kind of have to put your ego self aside
oh yeah,
and open your heart and offer your heart.
completely. And
So
one
this
of
has really been a great change for you because you're feeling really happy. You're feeling you have a lot of purpose. I can sense it from you. It's like
oh yeah,
you've gone through something and come out the other side, and it's like, oh my God, life is great.
oh completely. It's been like a wild alchemical kind of transformation, and I'm more joyful and at peace that I've ever been, and for a number of reasons, but it's really centered on the deepest knowing that I am now doing what I'm here to do. I'm now fulfilling, in the process of fulfilling my soul's purpose for
That
embodying.
sounds so familiar. I hear it from so many people in
I
our
bet.
community. And so
Yeah.
in your meditation, in the work that you do, you've been able to talk to great spirits, correct? Am I right?
To great spirits.
Well, to
Mhm.
well, give me some examples of
Oh,
what you've had communication with because
sure.
um, I don't think it's that far removed from having communication with the visitors.
No,
It
not at
may,
all. Not at all.
I think the correlation between them is apparent to people.
Oh, completely. And it's confirmed for me in the way that, like I had mentioned earlier, that it's not uncommon. It surprised me when it started to happen, but now I understand it's not uncommon for, say, Mother Mary and a mantis being to come through to work together for someone, or Christ and an
Mhm.
Arcturian, or Magdalene and a Pleiadian presence to work, to come in tandem to work together. Those are just some examples. I've understood through this process, through this sort of holy discernment that I was given, which just really shows up as kind of like a somatic, like an ideomotor signaling. But the source is really divine, that gives me clarity, like a clairsentience or a claircognizance, not a clear hearing. and not clear vision. I don't have that, but it's a clairsentience or claircognizance that can tell me in real time pretty quickly, like who's with me.
Right.
And yeah, and I've learned through that that while I don't think I'm an experiencer of direct contact like you and so many, I do have what I think of as like a star family or soul family connection historically with Mantis, Arcturian, and Pleiadian. That's been
Hmm.
confirmed over and over again. And that's probably why those are the three most common to come through at times to work through me for the benefit of people. Um, but so yes, lots of direct contact with just what we would call the supreme beings, the Marys, Christ, Melchizedek, Maitreya. Tara is a recent participant. Um, Vishnu, Shiva, Lakshmi, a number of the ascended masters, Saint Germain, Serapis Bey.
Saint
Um,
Germain. Wow.
yeah, yeah, he was one of the first to come in. I actually think when I was in the pit of my darkness,
Yeah.
um I once I got that holy discernment and then I could use that to confirm who is with me. That was one of the first. And when that started,
There you go.
it was funny, Steve, because I had heard that name but I didn't know anything about Saint
You didn't know
Germain.
about him.
I didn't, so I went to school and I learned
The
about him.
man who cheated death.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yes, many times over, apparently. Yes. So the master alchemist, yeah, the violet flame.
Wonder how many of those Saint Germains walk among us still.
Yeah, you gotta wonder, right? Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or do they just keep coming back, being reborn with full memory of who they were before so they can pick up where they left off? I don't know.
right, right, right. Angels
It's all possible.
unawares.
If you can
Completely.
think of it,
Yeah,
it's real.
completely. That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
I saw what you, in your Substack, you mentioned Courtney Butterbaugh, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so she and I just started communicating because I messaged her in response to one of her brilliant Substack articles. So we've been chatting a little bit, and I'm if she's open to it, I might offer her a session of what I do for me to be able to practice with somebody who is an experiencer and seems to be curious about what I'm doing.
Experiencers are very cautious, and I'm sure you've run into this. And
Yeah,
when we first started our channel, we knew some people already, and they were willing to come in front of our cameras and tell their story. Not with me asking them at all. Just we make films where they sit in front of camera and they tell their story, and I bring it to life with visuals that I've been doing for years for Hollywood.
right.
Um, and it took about 2 years really before um, we gained the trust of the community, which is mostly in the closet. They don't even
Yes,
talk to their own kids or family about it, certainly not the people they're working for. And
right.
then there's a lot of people who are older now and retired who just don't care anymore. They want to come forward, but it
Yeah,
took a long time to gain their trust, and I understand that
completely.
because if you've watched other programs and Netflix specials and
Mhm.
mainstream media on this subject, and even YouTube uh, higher
Yeah.
ups that have huge channels with huge followings, the experiencers don't trust them. They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want to come. They don't want to go on their shows because
Right.
they'll be exploited
Exactly.
or tricked. And
Yeah.
so,
That's right.
coming on a program like ours
Yeah.
that's was created by experiencers
Right.
um, has been helpful. But again, it's taken time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's such a taboo around it. They've been so marginalized. I mean,
Oh yeah,
there haven't been a lot of John Macks in the world. I know that. Right?
no, there hasn't.
Right. And s
And and
mm,
and what Courtney wrote about, I hope you read, was how women experiencers are treated by patriarchy.
right.
They're not treated the same as men at all, and that's what we did a show on, and that'll be on next Friday. Not
Oh,
this
knitting.
Friday, but the following. Yeah, so
Oh,
Courtney,
okay.
she was fantastic.
I bet. I bet. Yeah, I'm learning a lot from her. And there's another Substack, Meredith Spearman. It's called The Maze of
Yes,
Metanoia.
sure,
Yeah,
right.
just phenomenal deep dives, and just the intersectionality of what she's putting together philosophically, psychologically, in terms of the various models of consciousness and how all
Right.
that pertains to the phenomenon. It's just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anyone is going to give the subject credibility, or at least help give it more credibility, it's intelligent, well-spoken, well-written women like Meredith
Right.
and Courtney. They're just fantastic,
Exactly. Yeah.
because they're very intelligent and they're very straightforward, and there's not a crazy bone in their body. Yet what comes out of their mouth, most
Uh-huh.
people who are still inside of a box would look at them and say they're crazy at no fault of their own.
Right. Exactly.
It's the way they were brought up. It's the way they were indoctrinated that
Mhm.
people who see aliens are crazy.
Exactly. The tinfoil hat conditioning is still
Yeah.
alive and well. It's been chipped away at a bit, I'd say, but
Well, a lot recently too, because
yeah,
did you watch the interviews with Steven Spielberg before the movie was released?
I did not.
Well,
Didn't
that
know
was
I didn't know they existed before I went to see it.
oh, well, they
Yeah.
like, for instance, Sunday Morning, it's been on for years, big
Right.
program.
Right.
They did an incredible interview with him. And in all the interviews, he underlined the film is about empathy. That's the key word.
Yeah.
And he also, every time, told the interviewer that this was all true, it was
Mhm.
all real, and that he absolutely believed, and I quote him, that the evidence is overwhelming.
Yeah.
We have visitors on this planet, and they've been here. And that really shocks the interviewers because,
Yeah.
he's an icon.
Right.
He's a cultural icon. He's someone who did Close
Mhm.
Encounters and so many other movies, and
Right.
he's obviously established himself as a very sound mind. How else could anyone become as successful as him?
Right.
And he tells the right to camera on national television,
Yeah.
people, this is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, and then he said, listen to the experiencers. And the
Exactly.
last line in the movie is listen.
Listen. Yeah.
And that was directed at people to listen to us, to you, to me, to the
Yes.
experiencers, to people who are
Yes.
have a connection with the spiritual. And
Right. Which has been the obvious missing ingredient, kind of the smoking gun, if you will, of the whole thing, right?
yeah,
Like once all the congressional hearings started, what was the one thing that was missing all that from that? The voices of experiencers of the phenomenon. Yeah.
yeah, because and it's the stigma, that's
Yeah.
been created by the people creating the cover up, that the people who have been inside the craft and been in the company of the people driving those craft, either out of
Hmm.
from other dimensions to this one, or from other worlds to this one, or both, or everything else in between,
Right.
they were scrutinized.
That's
They
right.
were thought of as being crazy. That's going too far.
Yeah.
So seeing a big giant triangle floating over your house with a whole bunch of other people, that's not going too far. But saying that you know who is driving it is okay. I think I
Right.
get it.
Right. Right. I know.
So, did you see the Day of Disclosure?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah. Disclosure Day, isn't it? Isn't that?
Disclosure Day. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay. That's what was confusing me about in your Substack. I was like, is he talking about the Spielberg film? Right. Um,
I constantly get it mixed up.
yeah, that's all right. I figured that's what you're talking about. I did see it. Yeah. It was pretty much what I had read about. So I had an expectation going in. It was pretty much met. Um, it was a little bit heavy to me on the like chase scene Hollywood type stuff, but I
That's
realize
something
it's
you have to do that.
yeah, it's for the
That's how
masses.
you get
So
your money.
exactly. I get it.
Because the people that finance films are brain dead, basically. The world's flat, and everything's
Right.
black and white. This makes money. This doesn't. What's
Right.
all this junk about these aliens and all stuff? We just want to see what gets people in the box office.
Yeah.
And I don't fault them for that. That's their reality and that's who they are. But they are what we need to be able to get a message across sometimes. And so
To the mainstream.
you have to give them something. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly.
But the scene in the house, the reconstructed
Yes.
house,
Yes.
Just like I reconstructed my bedroom back in 2017 on a stage
Mhm.
for the memory of my experience, which really got me. But to make it short,
Yeah.
that scene where they go into the bedroom and it all begins,
Yeah.
uh, there wasn't as an experiencer that could sit through that with a stone face and not emotionally come apart during that scene,
Right.
including myself. It was so powerful, and yet
Yeah.
people who don't have these experiences thought nothing of it,
Right.
and that was really, really quite deliberate,
Mhm.
and
And you and
it did something to everyone, to all of us. It, like, activated something in us.
right, right. And so you feel, I'm guessing that it was well crafted, well portrayed, well done?
Yeah, I mean, there were things that weren't 100% sort of accurate to way these things happen. I mean,
Mhm.
the way, there was just the 2 of them that had the experience and but
Yeah.
because it's but they somewhere in the film, so this was pointed out to me, I had missed it. There was a lot to take in that film was,
Yeah.
the reference to 7,000,000 people. There's 8 I mean, 7,000,000,000 people. There's 8,000,000,000 people, and in that reference, what was meant essentially was that the other billion were the people who do have the experiences. It's
Mm.
that high. It's
Right.
that large, and I believe that's true because I run into it all the time,
Yeah.
and people pull me inside and say, "I don't think you're crazy. I won't talk to anybody about this, but I feel I can talk to you about this," and it's like,
Right.
I can't even say where this happened, but this is someone I've known for 13 years. I see him quite often.
Yeah.
He has a business, and I was in there we were by ourselves in there. Nobody else in this place of business because if I even say what business it is, it'll give him away.
Right.
Um, he says, "You ever watch Skinwalker Ranch?" And I said, "Why would you ask me that question?" He says, "I don't know. I've been watching it. How do you feel about that stuff?" And I said, "Well, I don't think you realize who you're talking to, but you're safe with me." And he told me what happened to him, and he talked about how he was out in the desert and he sat on this rock. I guess it was down by Joshua Tree.
Mm.
And this is a really straightforward, conservative, hardworking guy
Mhm.
who never talks about this stuff. And he told me about the craft that landed,
Wow.
the humanoid people that got out,
Wow.
approached him and took him on board. They wouldn't let him see the whole thing, but they let him walk down the corridors and it kind of curved inside. And he described all this stuff, and he just felt that he could tell me about it because he couldn't tell anybody else about it. They would never believe him, and they think he was crazy. This happens a
Right.
lot. So how many people are out there just like him that are afraid to talk?
Exactly. Exactly. It's probably, comparable to, you always hear the stats about, uh, sexual abuse, sexual assault survivors, like
Right,
1 in 4 girls is what you usually hear, 1 in 5 to 8 boys, but that's
right.
just reported. Think of how many are not reported.
Sure.
Right,
Well, I know that, a lot of people working in the mental health profession who are skeptical of what we're talking about,
right.
are very convinced that the people who have these experiences have suffered that, and this is
Yeah,
um, what they call, a contrived memory to cover that up,
yeah,
something to help them get through it. But I have never found that to be true,
right,
in all
right.
these years.
And again, to me, John Mack's, magic was in really highlighting that you don't feign or make up the symptoms of this kind of trauma, right? That they are to be believed. We may not know what it is, but that's a different story. But something happened to these folks. They're
Yeah,
not clinically, they're not pathological, they're not psychiatric cases, right? They're
right.
traumatized. Yeah.
most of them are very peaceful and very kind and very
Yes,
shy.
and of
You know,
sound mind.
they're not aggressive at all.
Right, right.
Although I've met some who absolutely hate the Greys,
Yeah,
have tried to hurt them, and have so much anger, but I
yeah.
haven't talked to those people in years. I really wonder today if they still have the same opinion.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we did have back in that support group that I was part of for a while, we had a visitor, human visitor, I mean, in this sense,
Yeah.
who was an experiencer and an author. I can't remember his name, Brett something. I think he wrote a book called like Walk something with the Grays. Um,
Huh.
yeah, Brett something or other. He was
It
fairly well.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, yeah. He was fairly well known at the time as someone who came out publicly and wrote a book about it. But he was quite angry, quite bitter at the time, is what I recall. And that one time he came to talk with the group. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, here you are trying to maintain a whatever a normal life is
yeah,
and go along and you've got this and it won't go away.
yeah,
No matter what you do, it doesn't go away. You tell
yeah.
yourself a lot of these people tell themselves, "I'm crazy, I'll go get help." It doesn't go away.
That's right.
Years and years go by and it never goes away. I
Yeah,
never know what to expect every night, every day,
yeah.
especially when I go to bed at night. I never know. And
Absolutely.
there's
Yeah,
always I never it's hard to just relax and go to sleep. Not that I'm frightened. It's just some nights I just want to sleep.
sure. Yeah,
And there's always something important to do and something important to part on you, something important lesson to learn or
right.
something to be shown, or it's actually physical, and you know when it's physical because of the things you find in your bed, the way your covers are off, you just know.
Yeah,
And usually that's been things that are like going to the doctor. They are maintaining you. At least that's my belief. Because
yeah.
I shouldn't be alive. I really shouldn't. I mean, after my rock and roller days in Hollywood, you
Right,
know?
right. Yeah. I wonder, Steve, if you were or are a fan of David Jacobs' work?
Well, I read his book, and
Yeah.
I found it fascinating, everything. But David, to this day, maintains that this is a very evil force and very,
Exactly right.
very
Yeah,
terrible thing. And
that's right. Yeah,
and then we got JD Vance saying they're demons, and we get this all the time.
of
But
course.
the percentage of people that feel that way is very, very small.
That's
Uh,
my sense as well. Yeah,
yeah, David, though, I like him. I like what he did. His book was very good, but I just it's a shame that he
yeah.
only sees it that way. I don't know if he still does. You
Yeah,
know?
I don't know either. I agree with you. What the book that impacted me back then early was Secret Life, one of his early books.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was really all about the hybridization theory based on the experiencers that he was hearing from or working with way back at that time. And then it seemed to be as he went, he moved into more of that one-sided, it's all in evil, and started writing books called like
yeah.
The Threat, So I lost interest at that point because just intuitively that's not my sense. I think it spans the whole spectrum,
Me too.
just like on Earth, right? As above, so below.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm,
it's been my opinion, and that's underlined my opinion
yeah.
that nature has been trying to get us right for the longest time. Uh, and evolution doesn't always mean that it's natural selection. Sometimes nature applies different tools to the development of a species. And if that comes in the form of visitors from another world or another dimension or us from the future, whatever it is,
Right.
to re-engineer us to a point where we get past aggression and war and hate and build into a
Oh, yeah.
civilization that can thrive and explore the stars,
Yeah.
then I'm all for that. And if that's what the hybrid program is about, and I believe it is,
Yeah.
then I'm all for it. I mean, we never die. You know
Yeah,
that, I know that.
exactly.
We always where this body quits, we go back
Yep.
and become part of the, non-local consciousness that we're always part of.
Yes.
And we might have a life review. We
Mhm.
might have the option of staying in what some people call heaven or the park, as I call it, and
Right.
take a vacation for a while before you come back. And,
Yep.
uh, because the one thing I don't like is not being able to remember my life previous to the one I just left.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that is that the embodiment of all the lives we have is in us. So we may
Yes.
not remember everything, but we certainly feel it.
Oh, definitely. That's one thing I have found at times in some of the sessions that I'm conducting when some of the higher sources are actively involved. There are times where in the course of the work that's going on for the person that past life data, let's say, is organically brought about when it's understood that that would be helpful at that time for this person. So not like past life regressions or reviews, but certain information, let's say Mary will just sort of bring up for that person, and it feels very, very purposeful and real and true for the person. It's really marvelous.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is, and it can help you in your present life understand why you may have things
Yes.
that are disturbing to you or an underlying disturbance in your force,
Yes.
your life force that you can't put a finger on.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was connecting with my life in World War II. And what brought that out was Band of Brothers when I watched uh, the second, uh, not the second season, but the second version of it, which was the Pacific War. Um, I
Wow.
had a really terrible time watching that, and like the
Mhm.
emotions I'm getting now from what's been going on with the visitors. I
Right.
remembered being in the jungle. I remember being in that, and I remember coming home, surviving the war, and being so devastated by what I experienced that my own family couldn't relate to me anymore, and it brought me to a point of wanting to kill myself. I was so unhappy.
Wow.
I was actually better off when I was still in the war with all
Yeah.
my people that I was with, that I got so used to being with all those years,
Totally.
in combat, and
Right.
coming home and all that's done, and you'd think you'd be glad to be home, and it just felt all wrong. And that was
Yeah.
made very clear in that version of, A Band
Mhm.
of Brothers, and it just oh, man, that was powerful,
Wow. Yeah.
I
Rocked you, huh?
I'm pretty yeah, I always knew, I have an affinity for 1940s and World War II, and I always knew that there was something going on there with that, but that brought it out.
Yeah. Right. So that sort of confirmed for you a past life
Yeah,
pattern awareness. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So,
Yeah. That.
so when you're working with people and
Mhm.
doing the work you do,
Mm.
are you doing work with that as well?
Um. Only if it comes up organically, and that's
Organically,
really
how can you explain organically a little bit more for our
yeah.
listeners?
Meaning, if I'm doing a session where we're doing sort of inner work, transpersonal work, which is where we're connecting with our higher self
Right.
and higher guides like Mary and others. And then we're working with the psyche as a system, a multiplicity based system. So in that sense, I'm drawing on the model that's really my main map, which comes from IFS or internal family systems,
Mhm.
and a little bit from other related systems like psychosynthesis and others. But IFS is my main map, which, just to put it incredibly simply, is a model that proposes that we all have a larger, eternal, undamaged self, and that's the divine spark or the healing essence within us. And then we have a constellation of parts of us, subpersonalities, or some might say inner children, right?
Yeah.
That are the aspects of us that get loaded up with the pain of whatever the trauma that we experience, and then other sort of sets of parts that are really thrust into protective roles, which we could also understand as another way of understanding ego, is like a collection of protective parts trying to keep the pain out of our conscious awareness. So it's a way of working with all that together in a way that's evolving for me as I go. Um, but it's specifically when we have the presence of higher divine sources working with us through the field, that that type of information can be brought up organically, both because the person is relaxed and open and allowing of whatever comes up, and it's being sort of awakened in a sense by whoever from the higher realms is with us.
Well, this is great because this is an alternative to hypnosis that I think is more
Yeah.
natural. You're allowing the person a safe place. You're allowing them an atmosphere, an environment where they can
Yeah.
access memories themselves and a
Yes.
sense of being they had. Like, when we're
Right.
children, we don't really have an ego. Everything's wonderful. Everything's amazing. Everything you want to know about. It's an incredible state of
Exactly
mind.
right. We're more in a pure self state of just awe and wonder and curiosity. Right.
That's why we should never lose touch with our inner child or ever grow up. We bodies grow up, but we don't have to. Our
It's
spirit
like that
doesn't.
saying, don't grow up. It's a trap.
It is a trap.
Yeah.
So, um, you're very, very interested in working with experiencers because you want to help them,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I know how hard it is to get close to them, but I really think um, that what you're offering could be very helpful to people who are not comfortable with hypnosis because essentially
Yeah.
they don't feel they're in control. And the
Right.
way you're doing the work, they have the control. You're allowing them to
Yes.
have uh, choice
Completely.
in what's
It's,
going on, and
yes.
that's really something. Because I never would have really thought about that till I had you on the show.
Yeah.
Um, and we've talked about so many things over the last hour.
Yeah.
It would actually been great to talk more about this, but we are now, and that's important. I want to know
Yeah.
um, how how do people get in touch with you? You can
Yeah.
send me some links to that information I can post when I do the edit,
Yeah.
and
Sure.
they will hear me saying this. But how do they reach out to you?
Oh, yeah. The easiest way is just therapyoutsidethebox.com. That's my website.
Right,
Yeah, that's
right,
it. I was on
yeah.
socials. I'm not anymore. It's just too noisy and toxic. So,
It is noisy and toxic, and yeah,
yeah.
I understand that. For some of us, we have to be no matter what, or we don't get anywhere. But I
Right.
get that. And you're located where?
I'm in basically Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville.
Yeah. I'm in Franklin, a little bit south of Nashville.
Okay.
So I see people in person, but I can do what I do with people virtually all over the world, really, just like on a consultation or coaching
Right.
basis.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. Because I know there's a lot of people in the community that are uncomfortable with hypnosis, and
Yeah.
this could be an answer. I mean, this is something with a lot of work you can do yourself, but it's really helpful to have someone with your background that has your experience working in this
Yeah.
field to assist in this in ways that uh, people on their own may not be able to do.
Indeed. Indeed. For those who feel aligned with it and open to it, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's it's very you called it organic,
Uh-huh.
was that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything else, Chris, you'd like to share with us before we close up?
You know what? I thought that I might share something
Okay.
I received from a channeled transmission recently.
Okay.
So this was from a mantis. I think it was a feminine mantis being. So
Right.
remember that I have this soul family connection with mantis.
Right.
So in this channel transmission, this was a couple of months ago, I was
Mhm.
basically invited to begin to travel out of body at night whenever I would wish to connect with them and begin doing some work, which would involve mind to mind information transfer, heart coherence, and ultimately interdimensional travel. And in this transmission, they gave me a little script to read each evening, any evening that I would wish to do this. So I've been doing this. Now,
Wow.
understand I have no conscious memory of it yet, but I understand that that will come once I'm ready. And I guess I'm not ready yet, but this is happening in the evenings whenever I choose. So I thought I would just read this beautiful little script they gave me to recite each night.
I'd like to hear it.
So here it is. I now join my heart and soul with my mantis family in the vibration in which we are one being, separated only in form, ever united as fractals of the one source of all. I allow my body to remain at rest while my soul essence safely ascends to the fifth dimensional plane and beyond, lovingly assisted by the Mantis Collective, with whom I share the deepest connection and mutual desires as instruments of the divine creator's will for all sentient beings in the universe.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
And that's how they talk. I have
apparently.
only dealt with a mantis twice and more recently.
Okay. Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was an amazing experience. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're really insects or not, but they have that appearance. So
Yeah, they do have that appearance. Insectoid, I guess most would say.
yeah.
Are you familiar with Jacqueline Smith and her work with the mantis?
Oh, Jacqueline Smith, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I did a couple of her webinars and got some interesting information from her. That little mantra that she often gives out. It's that heart coherence frequency from the mantis. U Shama E Om Naha.
Huh.
Umasha Iom Naha. I use that a lot. Sometimes when I'm working with people, I'll just recite it silently to see if that has a by proxy effect on opening the heart center. But she's pretty fascinating.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at her now.
yeah.
Um,
So that's it. That was my share. I appreciate that.
yeah, no, was a really interesting conversation because, like I said before, we usually have experiencers on,
Yeah,
sometimes researchers of cases with experiencers,
yeah,
but I think as time goes by, we're going to be having more and more talks like this. I know
yeah,
that towards the end of our conversation with Courtney, um, it went in this direction, and it's continually going this direction. And what I wrote recently, which you read,
yeah,
uh, uh, I didn't know what to expect. I knew I had to share it. That's all I knew. I did not
yeah,
realize I would get the response I did, and I had people calling me up. Um,
yeah.
some names in this field who were quite taken by it. I did not expect that.
Got it.
But
Well,
it's my hope, though, that other people
yeah.
will start sharing that they're having the same uh, experience.
That's right. Well, you struck a chord, and I guess you would agree that Spielberg, with basically centering the narrative of Disclosure
He
Day
knew
around
exactly what he was
experiencers.
doing.
Yeah,
If you watch the interviews with him, he's all humble and he's sitting back like this, holding himself with this big childhood grin on his face, like I can't wait for this movie to come out because I know what's going to happen, and
yeah,
because he knew exactly what he was doing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's my hope that more of the experiencers and then eventually more of humanity will start to be able to
Hmm.
sense and feel each other the way were once able to do. So we will have an understanding of each other. And I think this will end the aggression, the hate, the wars, the greed,
Yeah,
the ego, and we'll
yeah.
just live in peace because it's the only way
Yes,
the human race or any other race is going to prosper and live on.
my friend, I'm with you on that. Hippie at heart till the end.
Chris, thanks so much for being on the show,
Thank you, Steve.
and I hope that some people reach out to you, and then if they do, and you get to work with them, we got to have you back, find out how that went. I think that'd
Absolutely.
make an interesting way to follow this up. Thank you so much.
I would love it. Keep being the light, man. Thank you.
You too.